Okay, let's talk about the cloud. You hear that phrase everywhere, right? Your photos are in the cloud, your shows stream from the cloud. But what is it really? Like, where is this place? Well, that's what we're going to break down right now. Let's get into it. All right, so think about this. Remember when we all had shelves like overflowing with DVDs? You had to own the physical movie to watch it. Now, you just fire up a streaming service. You're not owning it anymore, you're accessing it. The cloud is, well, it's pretty much that exact same idea, but for big-time technology. Instead of companies buying these huge, expensive physical servers and keeping them in a closet somewhere, they just access all that computing power over the internet. It's a total game changer, this shift from owning something to just using it.
So that leads to a really powerful question, right? What if building new things with technology worked just like that? What if you didn't have to build an entire movie theater from the ground up every single time you had a new film you wanted to show? I mean, just imagine.
And that's exactly what this is, a new way to build. It's all about that fundamental shift from owning to accessing.
Okay, so what is cloud computing then? Let's get a really clear definition.
So here's the textbook definition. Cloud computing is the on-demand delivery of IT resources over the internet with pay-as-you-go pricing. Okay, let's unpack that. On-demand basically means you get what you need exactly when you need it, instantly. And pay-as-you-go? That's huge. It means you only pay for what you actually use. Think about that. No more buying a giant expensive server that just sits around collecting dust most of the time.
And you might be thinking, this is just for, tech startups in Silicon Valley. But no way. This model is so powerful that pretty much everyone is using it. We're talking huge healthcare companies, major financial firms, video game makers, literally organizations of every type, every size, in every industry. Let me give you a few real-world examples to show you what I mean. Let's start with healthcare. Using the cloud, companies can tap into almost unimaginable computing power to sift through mountains of data. What for? To develop personalized medical treatments for patients. I mean, that's stuff that was basically science fiction just a short while ago because it was so difficult and expensive.
Or how about your bank? In finance, it is all about speed. The cloud is what's running in the background, powering real-time fraud detection. It crunches massive amounts of transaction data to spot anything fishy and protect your money, literally the second it happens.
And hey, if you're a gamer, you basically live and breathe the cloud. It's the magic that lets game companies deliver those huge, sprawling online worlds to millions, and I mean millions of players all at once, all over the globe, without the whole thing crashing down. It's pretty incredible.
So you can see it's powerful, but why? Why does this shift from owning to accessing matter so much? Well, it really boils down to 4 core benefits.
All right, here are the big 4. Agility, elasticity, cost savings, and deploying globally. These are the pillars of the cloud. They kind of build on each other. So let's start with the first one, agility.
Agility is just speed. It's about moving fast. I'm not kidding. In the old days, if you needed a new server, you'd put in an order and weeks, maybe months later, a box would show up. Now, with the cloud, you can get access to thousands of servers in minutes. So you can go from, hey, I have an idea, to a real working thing crazy fast. It gives you this incredible freedom to just try stuff, to innovate, without all that waiting.
And that speed leads us right into the next benefit, elasticity. Just look at this chart, it explains it perfectly. So before the cloud, you had to play a guessing game. You'd ask, what's our busiest day of the year going to be? Black Friday? And then you'd have to buy enough servers to handle that massive peak. But what about the rest of the year? Well, as you can see, all that expensive equipment was just sitting there, wasted. With elasticity, that whole problem just disappears. You use exactly what you need, and it automatically grows or shrinks with your traffic. No more guessing, no more waste.
And you guessed it, not wasting resources leads directly to massive cost savings. Instead of spending a fortune upfront on a data center and all those servers, a huge fixed cost, you trade that in for a much smaller variable bill. You're basically shifting from a giant capital expense to a manageable operational expense. And because the cloud providers are operating at such a massive scale, the price you pay for what you use is way, way lower than what it would cost you to do it yourself.
Okay, this last benefit is just mind-blowing. Global deployment. In literally a few clicks, you can launch your application in multiple locations all around the world. So say you have customers in Europe and Asia. You can put a copy of your app right near them. For the user, this means less lag, a much faster, better experience. And for you, you can become a global company in minutes. It's wild.
So the cloud isn't just one single thing. It's better to think of it as coming in a few different flavors or, service models. It really just depends on how much you want to manage yourself versus how much you want the provider to handle for you.
So you can see the three main models here on this chart: IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. Looks a little complicated, right? Don't worry about it. The absolute best way to get this is to forget about technology for a second and think about pizza.
Okay, first up, infrastructure as a service, or IaaS. In our pizza world, this is like making a pizza completely from scratch at home. The cloud provider gives you the kitchen, the oven, the flour, the tomatoes, all the basic building blocks. You get the highest level of control and flexibility to make exactly the kind of pizza or application you want.
Next up, we have Platform as a Service, or PaaS. This is like buying a pre-made pizza crust with the sauce already on it. The provider handles the boring stuff, the dough, the oven, keeping it at the right temperature, which is like the underlying servers and operating systems. You just get to focus on the fun part, adding your favorite toppings, or in the tech world, building and running your applications. It lets you be way more efficient.
And last, we have Software as a Service, SaaS. This one's easy. This is ordering a pizza. It just shows up at your door, hot and ready to eat. It's a completely finished product. Think about your web-based email or your favorite streaming service. You don't manage anything. You don't think about the ingredients or the oven at all. You just use it. This is the version of the cloud that most of us use every single day.
Okay, so let's tie all of this together. What's the final takeaway here? What does all this mean as we look to the future?
If you walk away with just one thing from this explainer, I hope it's this. The cloud is so much more than just a piece of technology. It's a completely different way of thinking, a fundamental change in how we create things, how we innovate, and how we connect with each other across the entire globe.
So we've seen how this powerful idea, shifting from owning a product to simply using a service, has completely remade the world of technology. So the big question to leave you with is, what's next? What other parts of our world, what other industries will be totally transformed by this exact same change? That's something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.